In the headlines, Nigeria military in hot water over alleged brutalization of civilian staff. Bauchi residents express concern over acute malnutrition. Senate approves 98.5 billion naira 2024 supplementary FCT budget. On the foreign scene, 39 migrants die in Yemen boat mishap. Hello again and welcome to the news update on Trust Television. I am Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for joining us. Another news in detail. The civilian staff of the Ministry of Defense under the umbrella of the Joint Executive Council have shut down headquarters of the ministry in Abuja over alleged brutalization of their members by soldiers. The president of the council, Didam Joel, said a civilian staff of the ministry has been under detention for a month by military authorities, even though he's not a military personnel. Joel added that an assistant director of the ministry working at Command Secondary School, Ojo in Lagos, was equally brutalized on Monday without recourse to civil service rules. Army civilians protesting outside the defense headquarters in Abuja on Monday.
It's a sad day for us because the one that led to this action is because yesterday you see the videos trending where one of our assistant director civilian was brutalized by some private soldiers in Lagos, the Command Secondary School in Ipaja, Lagos, and they have killed somebody already, one of our members, Comrade Richard, for some months back.
2 months ago.
And we have asked the management to react, but up to today we've not seen any action. And continuously, last month, one of our civilian staff was locked in the guard room at Jaji for 1 month, over a month now. It was because we had to meet the PAMSEC that they called and he was released. And then yesterday again, this action, this incident happened again. So it means we are.
Meanwhile, in response to recent concerns raised by the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria regarding the treatment of civilian workers at Command Secondary School, Iyana Ipaja, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tarid Lagwaja, has taken decisive action to address the situation. The move follows a protest staged by the civilian staff of the Ministry of Defense under the umbrella of the Joint Executive Council over the alleged brutalization of their members by soldiers. Lieutenant General Lagwaja expressed his unwavering commitment to upholding the rights of all personnel, including civilian staff. He emphasized that the Nigerian Army recognizes the vital role civilian staff play in supporting its operation and day-to-day administration and is dedicated to fostering a positive and respectful working environment for all personnel. While acknowledging that misunderstandings or miscommunications may occur, Lagwaja stated that the ongoing investigation aims to provide clarity and implement necessary measures to prevent similar incidents in the future. Katsina State Governor Radda vowed on Tuesday to defeat banditry following the recent attack on Gidam Boka village in Kankara local government area, which claimed 26 lives. The tragic incident occurred on Sunday, June 9, 2024 at around 1500 hours, resulting in the death of 2 members of the Katsina Security Watch Corps, 4 police officers and 20 other residents, with 2 additional residents wounded. Governor Radda extended his heartfelt condolences to the families and loved ones of the victims, joining the entire state in praying for the repose of the souls of the departed and offering comfort to the bereaved families during this difficult time. He acknowledged the tireless efforts of security forces confronting criminal elements threatening peace in the state and reiterated his administration's firm commitment to eradicating banditry and all forms of criminality. Radda stated that The state government is actively working with the federal government and relevant security agencies to implement a comprehensive security strategy to end this menace. He further pledged to increase the security presence in Kankara and other vulnerable areas, emphasizing enhanced intelligence gathering capabilities to proactively identify and disrupt criminal activities throughout the state. Still on security matters, suspected Boko Haram insurgents have abducted passengers along the Maiduguri-Kano highway. Sources told Daily Trust that the insurgents struck between Garin, Kuturu and Mananari village near Ono along the Damaturu highway at about 5:50 p.m. on Monday. They reportedly blocked the highway and forcefully took away some passengers. The incident left hundreds of travelers and commuters stranded on both ends of the ever-busy road, forcing them to return to Benishek and Ono. Residents narrated how many commercial drivers took refuge in their community momentarily while the insurgents were operating between Garin Kuturu and Mananari villages. Away from security matters, states in northern Nigeria are the most affected by the two forms of malnutrition, stunting and wasting. High rates of malnutrition pose significant public health and development challenges for Nigeria. In this report, Trustee Adamu Imam speaks to health experts and lactating mothers in Bauchi on the matter.
Nigeria has the second highest burden of stunted children in the world, with a national prevalence rate of 32% of children under 5. An estimated 2 million children in Nigeria suffer from severe acute malnutrition, but only 2 out of every 10 children affected is currently rich with treatment. 7% of women of childbearing are also suffer from acute malnutrition. Corroborating some of these concerns raised by the health expert within the sub-region, lactating mothers at one of the facilities explained further.
The reasons are very clear. If I have money, I will buy nutritious food for the children. But if not, then we'll have no option. The worst part is that some husbands neglect their responsibility and leave us to care for the kids alone. From the time of conception, we usually don't have nutritious food to eat, so the tendency of being malnourished is very high, and some of our children are already stunted. But we thank God for the care we receive at Tirwun Health Facility, especially the distribution of ready-to-use therapeutic food for children's survival. We are currently in a difficult situation, struggling to feed ourselves even twice a day. Some of us are pregnant or nursing mothers. We have not eaten well, so how can the children be properly fed in this food crisis? Now, getting food is very hard, unlike before. With no enough breast milk, we can't escape from malnutrition.
Healthcare workers lamenting the alarming trend of severe acute malnutrition among children have expressed deep concern and are calling for urgent humanitarian assistance. They emphasize the need to scale up efforts to mitigate this life-threatening condition that is devastating young lives.
This facility is congested during malnutrition clinic days. We receive at least 300 to 400 mothers on clinic days. We ensure that every mother who comes for their reason gets the attention they need, especially those from hard-to-reach community areas. That is our biggest challenge here. We usually sensitize the lactating mothers on how to use RUTF, advising them to use amoxicillin syrup first to avoid diarrhea when they start eating RUTF. If the government can do more to provide additional amoxicillin for this purpose, it would greatly benefit the malnourished children.
Doctors Without Borders emphasize that collaboration is key, affirming that the region needs proactive measures to stem the tide in the health sector. They urge relevant organizations and authorities at all levels to raise media awareness about the disturbing trend and to support families in addressing this child crisis for a healthier society. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Ram sellers in Jos, the Plateau State capital, are decrying low patronage as prices of sacrificial animals surge in the state. This development is coming less than a week before Muslims across the world celebrate this year's Eid al-Kabir. Trust TV's Ademusa visited the popular Yanshanu market and brought back this report.
Sacrificing an animal during Eid al-Kabir is a sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Muslims who could afford are encouraged to perform the sacrifice. For Muslims faithful in Jos, the hike in price of sacrificial animals may not allow them perform the sunnah this year. Some traders and market officials explain why the animals are scarce and expensive.
A lot of things happen, and that's why you can see, if you can look at the market, you find out that the cattle are now more full the market as usual. And you can look at the situation because of this Niger charge problem and all of these bandit problem. That's the reason why you can see the suppliers are not supplying how you are expecting. If you can look at the prices of the animals, you find it that the prices have gone up based on economic crisis.
Tsada ta raguna ta yi yawa. Ragunan da muke sayarwa 50,000 a bara, yanzu 130 ne, 140.
This time, the hike in price of animal is the first of its kind. The ram we sold last year for 50,000 naira is now sold for between 130,000 naira and 140,000 naira. The price is too costly. This could not be unconnected to the current economic situation in the country. Last year, everywhere in the market was ram, but this is not the story this year. Some people managed to buy while others could not afford. The moment you tell them the price, they turn back home. Yahaya Banyu, who came to the market to buy a ram, also shares his experience.
I came to the market to buy a ram, which I came with about 50 to 60,000. But coming to the market, I realized that the ram you bought last year at 50,000 now is getting to 80,000 naira. That of 80,000 naira is getting to 150,000. And then what I budgeted for the ram, actually I cannot afford it. But we don't know how it will end before the Salah. But the rams are costly now.
The market officials said they are discussing with other traders to reduce the price of the ram and other animals in the market.
Issue of money is a big problem, and which whereby person without money you cannot be able to perform the obligation. So we are there thinking of discussing with our suppliers to make sure that they reduce the price cost of for people to have the ability of performing the obligation.
The animal traders in the market are calling on government to reverse the subsidy, saying that is the only way to reduce the price of the animal. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
President of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Joe Ajero, says the organized labor will await the decision of President Bola Tinubu on the proposals submitted to him by the Tripartite Committee on Minimum Wage. Ajero ruled out any industrial action till the makes his stance known on the two proposals presented to him on the new minimum wage for workers in the country, while Labour insisted on 250,000 naira as a feasible living wage for workers. The other side, the federal and state governments as well as the organized private sector, proposed 62,000 naira. The Tripartite Committee submitted the two proposals to the President on Monday through the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Judge Akume. This is a news update on Trust Television. Still ahead. Public debate continues over controversial grazing management bill. More news when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. If you're just joining us, this is the news update on Trust Television. Let's take a look at some of our top stories. Nigerian military in hot water over alleged brutalization of civilian staff. Bauchi residents expressed concern over acute malnutrition. And to more stories, now to the National Assembly. The Nigerian Senate on Tuesday passed the 2024 supplementary bill of 98.5 billion naira for the Federal Capital Territory Administration. The budget approval followed the consideration of a report by the Committee on FCT. The report was laid and presented by Senator Osita Ngo. Senate correspondent Sagir Ibrahim has more.
In his presentation, Senator Ngo, who justified the 2024 FCT supplementary bill, said that the money is needed to develop certain infrastructure in the federal capital.
In considering this budget as time was of essence, the committee has worked harmoniously with the House of Representatives to present one version of the report for consideration by the Senate. On behalf of the committee, I hereby present the recommendations for the consideration of and passage of the 2024 FCT Statutory Supplementary Appropriation Bill into law.
Before the consideration of the report, Senator representing Federal Capital Territory, Ireti Kingibe, had raised a point of order to officially lay complaints in her exclusion from the activities of the Committee on the FCT, of which she is a member. Her point of order was noted by President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, who further advised her to, in accordance with the rules, communicate her complaints and present it before the Senate via a motion in plenary.
I also want to call to the attention of the Senate that though I am in the Committee of the Federal Capital Territory, whenever critical matters like budget or anything to do with the FCT is being discussed, I am never told. All I see is that it has been brought to the Senate.
The committee report, which was approved by the Committee of Supply without opposition from lawmakers, subsequently passed for a third reading when it was put to vote by the President of the Senate.
A bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territories Administration Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration's account, the total sum of 98,500 million for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory Abuja for the financial year ending on 31st day of December 2024. Third reading taken and passed.
The 98.5 billion naira approved by the Senate is in addition to the 1.2 trillion naira budget passed in March by the National Assembly. Sagir Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The bill that seeks for ranching of livestock in Nigeria, thus scaled through the second reading at the National Assembly, has continued to generate debates among Nigerians. In Benue State, mixed reactions are trailing the bill sponsored by Senator Titus Zam of Benue Northwest. Jimmy Azande reports.
Some of the residents welcome the bill, saying if passed and assented to by President Tinubu, insecurity will be minimized in the country and will also enhance food security.
Yes, I think that bill, it is very important for it to be in place. Because if you look at the international communities like Brazil, Argentina, and the rest of other ones, they are still doing ranching. And indeed, if that bill is passed, most of the crisis, the herders' crisis with the farmers will reduce to the barest minimum. So it is very apt for that bill to be passed.
Others say the bill is vague with ambiguous terms that need clarifications. This group is indifferent on the subject matter.
Everybody is worried about the insecurity of terrorists who are hiding behind herdsmen to wreak havoc on the populace. But some of us are worried of the bill in as much as it is desirable. And why? There's a particular terminology in the bill that's talking about transhumans. What is the meaning of transhumans? Transhumans. What is the meaning of transhumans?
Another group says the bill portends a threat to the unity of Nigeria and the fundamental human rights of Nigerian pastoralists.
The way the bill was present, fine. And the way the bill was mentioning, fine. And the way that he's talking about it, I think will not hold. Nigeria is very vast in the sense that you can't say that somebody who is rearing a cattle, that is herders, will not stay where he is. The only thing I was expecting them to do is to create ranches all over 774 local government.
It is left to be seen what becomes of the bill. In the meantime, it has scaled through the second reading, and it is now a subject for public hearing and debates in the respective committees of the Senate. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
We'll take it away from Nigeria now into a sad development. A boat carrying more than 200 migrants sank off Yemen, leaving at least 39 dead in the latest disaster on the perilous migration route from Africa. A United Nations agency post on Tuesday did not specify the migrants' nationalities. Each year, tens of thousands of migrants from the Horn of Africa set off across the Red Sea in a bid to reach the oil-rich Gulf, escaping conflict, natural disasters, or poor economic prospects. In April, 2 boats sank off the coast of Djibouti just 2 weeks apart, leaving dozens dead. The IOM said at the time it recorded a total of 1,350 deaths on the migration route since 2014, not including this year. And lastly, in sports, the Nigeria Premier Football League has awarded 3 points and 3 goals to Rangers for the abandoned Oriental Derby with Enyimba. The NPFL March Day 35 fixture was abandoned an added time after Rangers were awarded a controversial penalty at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Enugu. The decision prompted protests from Enyimba players who confronted the match officials, while the fans also invaded the pitch afterwards. Enyimba was also penalized 10 million naira for failing to ensure the proper conduct of its players, disrupting the NPFL live broadcast and causing the disruption and discontinuation of the match. Similarly, NPFL charged Rangers with over-ticketing, which led to overcrowding, and failing to provide adequate security and crowd control measures during the match. The team got a cumulative 5 million naira fines for all the breaches incurred. And that brings us to the end of the news update on Trust Television. Do not forget, you can always follow us across all of our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream from our news programs and documentary. I am Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for your time. Join us again.